Alright, hello Youthgo families. So quick thing, I'm gonna stick with the glasses theme because I have glasses of every color, so that'll be fun to see what sorts of shades I got on. So anyways, I had 2 cups of coffee today, so bear with me, I'm very jazzed. Okay, so anyways, for the free art resources, there will be a link in the description for Richard Wilkinson's art. He illustrates insects inspired by Star Wars characters. A quick forewarning though, the link is to an art magazine. So, that art magazine is called Juxtapose. It has ads built in that I cannot block for like adult beverages and such, but ads pop up everywhere that are not really child friendly, so hopefully you can look past it and ignore them the best you can to just look at this guy's art, because it's actually kind of hard to tell which Star Wars character he based his bug off of. That's like how good he did at making them look really realistic. The other link in the description is an insect prompt that I have been following in my personal time, and I'll show you some of that later. So this week's prompt is actually prompt number 33, an insect, if you haven't guessed. And the prompt that I've been following in my free time just happens to be all insects. So you could be inspired like Mr. Wilkinson and do some character-related bugs, like, you know, like Star Wars. You could do different Star Wars characters that he didn't do, or you could, I don't know, think of characters. I was gonna say Ninja Turtles, and I did record one video where I said that, and I was like, wait a minute, they're all green. You just have to change one color. So if you really want to do that, you can. I'm sure it'll be beautiful, but I don't know. So I lost my spot. Hang on, in my script. Excuse me. Okay, another thing I have done, and another way you could complete this prompt, is one time I had sat outside, like kind of looking for inspiration with my sketchbook, and a bug just so happened to land on my sketchbook, and I'll show you kind of what happened, but you could do lots of things with that. You could draw the bug that landed. You could follow its path. I did that and kind of started a war with him with my pencil. So here is what happened. If you can see the little lines, that's his trail that he took, and there he is. So I'll read the words to you because it's poetic. So, I wrote, he crept up to me slowly, wavering at my every movement, a stare down, unmonumental. Advancing, he retreated. Victory. Hello, little bug. So, I know, I'm a weirdo, but I couldn't think of what I wanted to put in my sketchbook while I was waiting outside, and that just so happened to pop into my head, and I started a war with him. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm just really odd, but it was fun, and it created an interesting page in one of my first sketchbooks, so I was like, whatever. And there's multiple ways for you to complete this prompt, as you can see. Also, if you have received our food baskets last week, you should have gotten a watercolor palette that you can also use to complete this project. So you could do some 3D art and get sculptural with it and use like pipe cleaners, or like you could make your own paper mache, or you could use one of the dough or clay recipes that I posted on my previous video. You could use tinfoil to make your armatures, or you could just use tinfoil and then color it in with Sharpie. You could draw it, paint it, whatever. There's so many ways that you can create that isn't, you know, I feel like that's like the #1 trend of all my videos, is that you can really use anything to create. You could cut pictures out of magazines, you could just look up photography of specific bugs. Like, there's so many ways that you can get involved in these posts. So now that we're to it, I'll show you what's in my sketchbook. And yes, as I have been filling sketchbooks, I decide to spend a little bit more money on mine, so I get really fancy looking ones because it makes me feel pretty magical to like draw in one of these because they're gorgeous. Okay, anyways, so here are the ones that I currently have for my prompt, and whew, okay, so there's one. I'll flip through all of them just to kind of give you an idea of what sorts of bugs are on the insect prompt that I've been, ooh, upside down, that I've been following. And this is interesting for me because I am using alcohol-based markers. I am not familiar with them at all, and I'm not comfortable with them. This is really the first time I've ever drawn with them, so this is kind of like a way for me to test my own skills with it and see what I can do. I found that it was really hard to draw a lot of the bugs that are really shiny or translucent, like this specific butterfly, like those like white parts in its wings are all translucent. So I was like, how on earth do I do that with markers? So it's been an actual challenge for me. Some of them turned out really good. Some of them I'm like, that's not as good as I want it to be. But it's the great thing about a sketchbook, it doesn't really matter. There's those two. This one was actually one of my favorite ones to do. I thought it was going to be horrible, but I actually had a lot of fun doing it, and it turned out really well. This one turned out way worse than I was expecting. So, markers they're not forgiving. They are not forgiving at all. But these are some of the bugs that are on that prompt if you want to follow it with me. There's some really cool looking bugs. At this point, I kind of decided I'm going to go less realistic and get more sketchy with it. So this was a bumblebee I did, because I was like, well, why have everything be super realistic? I can get my lines and the drawing down and have it be totally cool, but when it comes to the color and like the shininess and fuzziness and translucency of some of these things, it's really hard to capture. So that's as far as I got. I didn't do today's prompt yet, which is the Dryandra moth caterpillar today for me. So yeah, but overall it was enjoyable to use alcohol-based markers. If you ever get the chance to try them out, I would definitely recommend it. I'm getting the hang of it, kind of. I kind of understand how they work more. So go ahead. Make some bugs. Alright, that's all I got for you today. See you next week.